but I knew the monster beneath. He pushed past the security guard and stormed toward me.
Dorothy, you can't do this. You belong with me. This guy doesn't know you like I do. You're mine.
I took a deep breath and assured myself. I wasn't his prisoner anymore. I was done being afraid. Jake, you don't own me. You never did. I'm marrying Tom because I love him, and he loves me. He respects me, unlike you. You need to leave, or the police will make you. Jake's face flushed even more. He was so angry that he was red all over. I thought he would leave out of shame, but then he did something I'll never forget. He pulled a small knife from his pocket, making everybody gasp. The security guard shouted for him to drop it, but he didn't. I was also scared, but I stood my ground, refusing to let him see my fear. Jake waved the knife as he screamed.
If I can't have you, no one will. You'll regret this, Dorothy.
I was 22 when I met Jake. I was fresh out of college, full of dreams, and working at a coffee shop to pay the bills. He came in one rainy afternoon, looking so charming and confident. His smile made my heart skip a beat. He was so attractive. He ordered a black coffee and asked my name. I blushed because a handsome guy was asking for my name. It only meant that he thought I was attractive too. Anyway, I told him it was Dorothy, and he said it was the prettiest name he'd ever heard. I didn't know then that his charm was a trap. Jake came back every day after that. He'd sit for hours, watching me work, asking about my life. He was 28 then, with a good job at a car dealership. He seemed so put together and so sure of himself. After a week, he asked me out. Of course, I said yes without thinking twice. I'd come to like him so much that I didn't have time to think. Our first date was at a little Italian place. He held my hand, told me I was special, and paid for everything. I felt like I was in a romantic movie. We started dating fast. Jake was intense. He was always texting, calling, and wanting to know where I was. At first, I thought it was sweet. After all, he said he cared about me and that he'd never felt this way before. I believed him. My friends, though, they weren't so sure. My best friend Sarah said he gave her a bad vibe. She didn't like how he'd show up at our girls' nights uninvited. But I brushed it off. I was in love, so I couldn't see anything bad in Jake. I was stupid enough to tell him what Sarah said about him.
She's envious, baby. You don't need her. You don't need them, Dorothy. They don't get us. I'm all you need.
That's when things started to change more. Jake didn't like me hanging out with my friends. He'd get mad if I made plans without him. "Why do you need them when you have me?" he'd say. He'd sulk or yell until I canceled whenever I had an outing planned. Slowly, I stopped seeing Sarah and the others. They'd text, but I'd make excuses. Jake made me feel guilty for wanting anyone else in my life. He said they were jealous, that they'd ruin what we had. I was young and naive, so I listened to him. After that came the higher level of control. Jake started telling me what to wear. He didn't like my short skirts or bright lipstick.
You're mine, Dorothy. I don't want other guys looking at you. I could go crazy.
He'd check my phone, read my messages, and get angry if I talked to anyone he didn't know. One time, he saw a text from a male coworker and screamed at me for an hour, calling me names I'd never heard before. I cried, apologized, and promised to delete the contact. I didn't know it then, but I was losing myself.
You're lucky I love you, Dorothy. No one else would put up with you.
The worst part was how he made me feel inferior. He'd tell me I was nothing without him, that I'd fail if I tried to leave. I started believing it. My world shrank to just Jake. No friends, no family, just him. I quit my job at the coffee shop because he said it was beneath me. Really, he just didn't want me around other people. I moved into his apartment, and that's when things got really bad. Jake became paranoid. He'd lock the door and hide the key when he left for work. He'd check the mileage on my car to make sure I hadn't gone anywhere. If I was 5 minutes late coming back from the grocery store, he'd accuse me of cheating. Once when he saw me thanking a security guard at the grocery store, he grabbed my arm so hard it left a bruise, thinking I was cheating with the guard until I explained to him. He apologized after, crying and saying he just loved me too much and didn't want anyone else to have me. I forgave him because I didn't know what else to do. The breaking point came a year into living together. I was 23 and I barely recognized myself. I was jumpy, quiet, always scared of making him mad. One night, he got drunk and threw a glass at the wall because I forgot to buy his favorite beer. It shattered near my feet, and I screamed in fear. That's when I realized that I couldn't live like that anymore. The next day, while he was at work, I packed a bag. I didn't have much anyway, just some clothes and my old college ID. I left my phone so he couldn't track me. I took a bus to Sarah's house, which was 3 hours away. When I showed up at her door, shaking and crying, she didn't even ask questions. She just hugged me and let me in.
You're safe now, Dorothy. He can't hurt you anymore.
Staying with Sarah saved me. She helped me get a job at a bookstore and a cheap apartment. I went to therapy, learned about abusive relationships, and started rebuilding myself. It wasn't easy. I had nightmares about Jake finding me. I'd check the locks on my door 10 times a night. But slowly, I started to feel like Dorothy again. 2 years later, I met Tom. He was a regular at the bookstore, always buying history novels and making shy small talk. He was very kind and always spoke to me and anyone else very gently. One day, he asked me out for coffee. I was nervous because I was still scarred from Jake's behavior, but I said yes because I thought giving another man a chance was a part of healing. Luckily, it turned out that Tom was everything Jake wasn't. He always listened to me, he never pushed me into doing anything I didn't want, and he joined me in celebrating my successes, like when I got a promotion at work. He made me feel safe, like I could breathe again. He assured me whenever I doubted myself.
Dorothy, you're the strongest person I know. I'm lucky to be with you. Don't give up, okay? You'll be fine.
6 months after being in a relationship, Tom proposed. It was simple, just us at a park near my apartment. He knelt, held out a ring, and said he wanted to spend his life with me. I couldn't stop my tears as I said yes. I felt so happy with how things were going. We planned a small wedding by a lake. Sarah was my maid of honor, and everything was perfect. Well, until Jake came back. I don't know how he found out about the wedding. Maybe he'd been stalking me online, digging through social media, or heard through old mutual friends. But on my wedding day, as I was getting ready in the bridal suite, adjusting my veil, I heard a commotion outside. Sarah burst in, looking so pale like she'd seen a ghost.
Dorothy, it's Jake. He's here and he's trying to get in. What do we do?
My heart literally stopped. I thought I'd escaped him forever, but there he was, crashing the happiest day of my life like the bastard that he was. I peeked out the window and saw him at the venue gate, arguing with the security guard. He was yelling my name, his face red, looking so red, and his eyes like a crazy man. A few years back, I'd have been scared and almost even peed my pants, but I wasn't that girl anymore. I was stronger now, and I wouldn't let him ruin this. I told Sarah to call the police before I stepped outside with my veil trailing behind me and my heart pounding. Jake saw me and couldn't move anymore. For a split second, he looked like the stupid, charming guy from the first day I saw him, but I knew the monster beneath. He pushed past the security guard and stormed toward me.
Dorothy, you can't do this. You belong with me. This guy doesn't know you like I do. You're mine.
I took a deep breath and assured myself I wasn't his prisoner anymore. I was done being afraid. Jake, you don't own me. You never did. I'm marrying Tom because I love him and he loves me. He respects me, unlike you. You need to leave, or the police will make you. Jake's face flushed even more. He was so angry that he was red all over. I thought he would leave out of shame, but then he did something I'll never forget. He pulled a small knife from his pocket, making everybody gasp. The security guard shouted for him to drop it, but he didn't. I was also scared, but I stood my ground, refusing to let him see my fear. Jake waved the knife as he screamed.
If I can't have you, no one will. You'll regret this, Dorothy.
Tom, who'd been helping set up chairs inside, finally heard the commotion and ran out. He saw Jake with the knife and didn't hesitate to step between us, using his body to shield me. I felt so happy. He knew about Jake because I told him.
Put the knife down, Jake. You're done here.
Jake laughed like a maniac and immediately lunged at Tom. But Tom was faster. He dodged the attack, grabbed Jake's wrist, and twisted until the knife fell to the ground. The security guard immediately tackled Jake, pinning him as he thrashed and screamed. Fortunately, the police arrived seconds later and yanked Jake to his feet, handcuffing him as he spat curses uncontrollably. Jake's screams were the only sound everyone could hear as we watched him get dragged to the patrol car. The next day, when I went to the station, the police later told me they found a burner phone in his car, filled with photos of me. Some were taken outside my apartment at work, even at the park where Tom proposed to me. I couldn't believe that he'd been stalking me for months, planning to ruin my wedding. They also found a restraining order from another ex-girlfriend he'd harassed. This time, with the weapon and the public scene, he was facing serious charges like attempted assault with a deadly weapon, stalking, and violating parole from a prior arrest. Jake was sentenced to 16 years in prison after spending 2 weeks in the cell. Of course, I made sure he was tortured every day while he was there. Tom was kind enough to give me the money I bribed the cops with. In prison, I heard that he wouldn't stop screaming my name, claiming I was his, vowing to kill me and himself. He told anybody who cared to listen that Tom came and took me away from him. I heard that the other convicts made fun of him regularly. One day, in a deranged fit, he smashed a stone against his head because he believed that he'd die, and his death would unleash his ghost to haunt me. But he didn't die. The action paralyzed him, confining him to a wheelchair for life. From his cell, he begged to speak to me every day, pleading for forgiveness. In response, I sent him a box of dead rats with a note. "This is what you are to me now." He sealed his fate all by himself. My marriage with Tom will be 6 years in a few months. We already have 2 lovely kids together and we're living happily. Thanks for watching.
Terrence thrashed and mumbled through the gag, his bravado gone. Grandpa dragged him to a tree and tied him up. Then he pulled out a jar of honey and made sure that Terrence could see what it was. "Now, son, you ever heard of what bears do when they smell honey?" Terrence's eyes got even wider. He started shaking his head violently. I would be lying if part of me wasn't enjoying watching him squirm. Without his goons, Terrence was powerless. Yeah, we don't understand you, boy. But at any rate, bears love honey, and they'll eat practically anything that is covered with it. So if I were to pour this all over you, then they would see you as just a tasty little treat. Grandpa, are you serious? Serious as a heart attack. Grandpa opened the jar and started drizzling the honey all over Terrence's arms and legs. At first, Terrence tried to act tough, but when the sticky liquid covered his shirt, he broke. Big tears began pouring out of his eyes as he fought against the restraints, but couldn't make them budge. Once he was covered head to toe with the honey, Grandpa removed the gag from his mouth. Okay, I'll stop. I swear I'll stop. Please don't leave me to be eaten by bears." "Well, that's good to hear. But just keep in mind that the bears are always hungry, and we know where you live." Grandpa untied him, and Terrence bolted so fast you'd think a bear was actually chasing him. Hi there, my name is Billy. I suppose you could say I live a pretty normal life, or at least I used to. But lately, school has been a living hell, and no one knows about it. Not my mom, not my dad, not even my older sister. No one except me and the kids who make my life miserable. It started a few months ago when Terrence and his goons decided I was an easy target. They called me ugly because I had eye problems and always wore my glasses. Look what we have here. Hey, Billy, why are you such a whiny little bitch? What? What did I do to you? Oh, nothing. I just couldn't help but notice how whiny and annoying you are, and I wanted you to know. Yeah, surely someone as ugly and stupid looking as you would be used to it by now. He really is ugly and stupid, look at his glasses. You are so right, and a complete crybaby was too. It wasn't just name-calling. No, they got creative. They tripped me in the halls, knocked my lunch tray out of my hands, stuffed garbage into my locker, and one time, they even locked me in a bathroom stall during gym class. It's not like I'm weak or anything. I just don't like fighting. That only made it worse. Hey there, Billy. Leave me alone, guys. I'm not in the mood today for your crap. As if you have a choice. Give us your lunch money, you moron. I don't have any. I brought my lunch today. Then give us that. Why are you so stupid? Even after I gave them my lunch, they still pushed me to the ground and started kicking and punching me. It was awful, and it was happening nearly every day, and it was making me feel depressed. But I never told my family. I mean, what would they think? My dad always told me to be strong, to stand up for myself. But how do you do that when the whole school is laughing at you? I didn't want to be a disappointment. So, I kept my mouth shut. At least I did, until the day Terrence and his friends went too far. They cornered me on my way home, took my glasses, and beat me up, saying I had to bow and show respect when greeting them. When I refused, they attacked me even more, recorded the whole thing, and posted it online with the title, "Teaching a Nerd How to Respect His Elders." When I got home, my grandfather noticed the bruises and asked, "Billy, what happened to your eye?" I froze in the doorway, my backpack still slung over my shoulder. I had hoped I could sneak past Grandpa before he noticed, but there was no way to hide the swelling and bruising around my eye. "It's nothing, Grandpa. I just got hit in the eye with a baseball during gym class." "Boy, don't you dare try to lie to me." "It's nothing, Grandpa. Just an accident." Grandpa narrowed his eyes. He didn't believe me for a second. He leaned forward in his chair, fixing me with that stare of his, the one that could make a grown man confess his darkest secrets. Grandpa had been a detective for the local police department before he retired, and he still had a way of getting people to talk when he wanted to learn something. "Billy, tell me who did this to you, and don't leave any details out." My throat tightened. I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to admit that I was too weak to stop it. But then Grandpa did something I didn't expect. He reached over and placed a hand on my shoulder. It wasn't just any hand. It was rough, calloused from years of hard work, strong and steady. "I ain't mad at you, son. I just want to help. But you have to tell me what happened or else I can't help you." And just like that, the words tumbled out of me. I told him everything. About Terrence, about the humiliation, about how every day I felt like I was drowning and no one even noticed. When I finished, Grandpa sat back in his chair and let out a long, slow breath. Then, he stood up and grabbed his keys. "Come on, boy. We're fixing this right now." "Wait, what? Where are we going?" "Just trust me. I know exactly what to do to make this right." Grandpa had grabbed several things from the kitchen, and then we headed outside to his truck. We drove in silence, the old truck rumbling beneath us. I had no idea what Grandpa had in mind, but when we pulled up to Terrence's house, my stomach dropped. "Grandpa, what are we doing?" "You'll see. Like I said, just trust me. I know what I'm doing." Grandpa got out, walked right up to the front door, and knocked. When no one answered, he walked around to the back of the house and was gone for a long time. I sat there gripping my seat, nervous as hell since I had no idea what he was planning to do or what he was up to. Part of me knew that I should trust him, but I was worried that whatever he was doing was only going to make things worse with Terrence and his goons. 10 minutes passed, then 20, and just when I was about to go knock myself, Grandpa came back out, with a large burlap sack slung over his shoulder. He walked straight to the truck, tossed it in the trunk, and slammed it shut. "What? What's in there?" "A surprise." I gulped. That didn't sound good. And what was worse was that I swear I saw the sack moving. We drove out to the woods, the air thick with tension. When we finally stopped, Grandpa pulled the sack out of the trunk and yanked it open. Inside was Terrence, tied up and gagged, his eyes wide with panic. I stumbled backward, not knowing what to do. This whole situation was just too crazy. "Grandpa, what the hell did you do? What are you planning to do?" "Relax, boy. We ain't hurting him. Just teaching him a lesson." "But won't we get in trouble for doing this?" "I was a cop, Billy. We won't even get a stern warning. Like I said, just trust me." Terrence thrashed and mumbled through the gag, his bravado gone. Grandpa dragged him to a tree and tied him up. Then he pulled out a jar of honey and made sure that Terrence could see what it was. "Now, son, you ever heard of what bears do when they smell honey?" Terrence's eyes got even wider. He started shaking his head violently. I would be lying if part of me wasn't enjoying watching him squirm. Without his goons, Terrence was powerless. Yeah, we don't understand you, boy. But at any rate, bears love honey, and they'll eat practically anything that is covered with it. So if I were to pour this all over you, then they would see you as just a tasty little treat. Grandpa, are you serious?" Serious as a heart attack. Grandpa opened the jar and started drizzling the honey all over Terrence's arms and legs. At first, Terrence tried to act tough, but when the sticky liquid covered his shirt, he broke. Big tears began pouring out of his eyes as he fought against the restraints, but couldn't make them budge. Once he was covered head to toe with the honey, Grandpa removed the gag from his mouth. Okay, I'll stop. I swear I'll stop. Please don't leave me to be eaten by bears." Well, that's good to hear. But just keep in mind that the bears are always hungry, and we know where you live. Grandpa untied him, and Terrence bolted so fast you'd think a bear was actually chasing him. We both laughed heartily as we saw him run away, and honestly, it felt really good to be the one making Terrence feel fear rather than the other way around. The next day, on my grandpa's advice, I sent a little gift basket to the rest of my bullies. Inside was a jar of honey and a note. If you don't stop, you're next. All of them stopped, except one. Greg. He came to school and came straight up to me to confront me. I could tell he thought it was all just a bluff. As soon as he saw me, he laughed in my face. What he didn't know was that Grandpa had enrolled me in a karate school and kept track of my progress to ensure I learned basic self-defense skills. I kept that a secret at school, only attending karate classes after school. You really expect me to believe that crap? Please, you're still just a loser. Leave me alone, Greg. I'm not gonna put up with your crap anymore. Oh, please. None of us believe for a second that you have the balls to do anything. None of us are actually afraid of you. Something inside me snapped. I was done being scared. I was done running. So when Greg shoved me, I shoved back. Hard. I wasn't going to back down because that meant that things would just return to the way they were before, and I wasn't willing to endure that again. He swung first, but I dodged. And then I hit him. I don't know how many times, but by the time a teacher pulled me off him, Greg was crying and bleeding from where I busted his nose. And all my former bullies saw me do it, and I could see the fear in their eyes. No one messed with me after that. Not Greg, not Terrence, no one. And every time I saw Grandpa after that, he just gave me a knowing smile. Every now and then, he would ask if we needed to buy any extra honey, and I was always proud to tell him that we didn't need to. In hindsight, I really should have trusted him the whole time and not questioned him. He taught me a very valuable lesson that day. I thought that was the end of it all, not knowing Grandpa had another plan. He had tracked all of them and gathered enough evidence against Greg and Terrence. He even downloaded the video of the day they bullied me, along with other horrible things they had posted, like insulting a girl for refusing to date them and making all sorts of hurtful jokes online. Grandpa went to the school and reported them to the principal, conveniently leaving out the part where I beat up Greg or when we kidnapped Terrence. The principal expelled them from school. I later heard that they've changed and are now good students. I guess sometimes you just need a little help standing up for yourself. Thanks for watching.